Everybody please rise for our invocation by Mr. Kellis.
Heavenly Father, as we begin our meeting, we do so with the awareness that without your presence here at the center of our meeting, our work would be empty. Lord, grace us with your wisdom and vision, that we might be open to your guidance and inspiration. May all of our decisions be for the good of the township and the citizens we serve. It's in your name we pray.
Amen. Everybody please remain seated. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Dieters would note that we have one absent trustee this evening, taking a well-deserved vacation. Mr. James and Mr. Weidman are present. Approval of minutes of May 2nd zoning public hearing. Do we have a motion?
I move we approve the May 2nd, 2023 zoning public hearing minutes.
A second. Any further discussion? Mr. Dieters.
Mr. James?
Aye.
Mr. Weidman?
Aye. We also need a approval for minutes of the trustee meeting from May 2nd. Do we have a motion?
I move we approve the May 2nd, 2023 trustee meeting minutes.
Second. Any further discussion? Mr. Dieters.
Mr. James?
Aye.
Mr. Weidman?
Aye. Next item on the agenda is a presentation by Alexander Kenya, Eagle Scout Project. You want to come up? Welcome.
Hi. As he said, my name is Alexander Kynyak, and I am soon to become an Eagle Scout. The last time I was here, I came to discuss to get permission for my Eagle Scout project. And I got everybody saying that it was a go, or that I should do it. So I did it. I did my Eagle Scout project, and I'm here today to discuss that with you. First, starting out with my Eagle Scout project, it was spanned out between 2 days, and it was over a period of 8 hours. I started my Eagle Scout project by going out, and me and my group, we did tilling with the soil, which is in this photo right here. Some of these photos of them tilling, and we tilled up just the existing dirt to get all the grass gone, and we marked out the area, and then we tilled up all that dirt. Then after that, a few days or later that day, we dug into the ground and we put in a pole, which we would put up a bee house on it. And here that is. Here's me holding the pole so it would be straight, and so that the concrete would firm. After that, I came back later that weekend to help with the event that we had that day. The pollinator event, and I helped with that. And then afterward, Jason Petty got the flowers for the garden for me, and he brought them over to the area, and he brought all the dirt over that morning. Then after that, we started planting the plants. First, we laid out here in this picture, we laid out the area where each of the plants would go, and we laid down a weed barrier. And then we had each of the plants laid out where they would go, and we got a rough idea of where each would go. Then we took a knife to cut out each of the spots and an X, and we put them down in it. Then we finished with that. And after that, we had we put the plants down in, and we covered it up with the compost, the leaf compost provided by the township. Then, after we put down all that, we put all the compost down. We built up a wall around the whole thing to make it visually different from the grass, so it had some polarity from the rest of it. And then we laid down some rocks to give it more of a natural feel, which is in this photo. And I have a photo for you guys to pass around that you can look at the final product.
This looks great. Wonderful work.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. And a week later, after going back each day, I checked with the plants and they have grown up, and the little milkweed that she gave us, the common milkweed, at first it didn't look like it was doing too well, but it sprouted up 4 and 5 new sprouts. So it's grown significantly. And all the other plants have grown up, and it's looking pretty good so far.
Great.
Also, about the milkweed, we acquired 2 different types of milkweed with at least 10 sprouts to start with that we planted in. That is one of the requirements to make a monarch garden. Or monarch way station, I mean. Along with some of them are for it to have a size of at least 100 square feet, which we meet that requirement. For it to have sun exposure, for it to have drainage, and to have a nice soil type. It also needs to be well kept throughout the year, and then it has to have 2 types of milkweed plants that are at least 10 sprouts each. And we have met all those requirements. So I would like to get a consensus on what if you think we should make it into a way station, what you think the name should be for the way station. I would like to incorporate Bechtold Park in it somehow. So any of you have ideas?
Do you have any suggestions for us for the name?
No, I don't really think so.
Any thoughts, Trace?
Bechtold Gardens.
Bechtold Garden, there's one.
I like that. Anybody else?
So this way station, does this get registered somewhere? Is that
Yes.
how you
You set it up and you register on the Monarch Way Station website. It's monarchwatch.org. And after you register it, they will go through it, make sure you meet all the requirements, and then you can name your way station. And you can also get a sign for it that you can put saying what the way station is, but once you register it, it's registered as a way station. And as long as you keep up with those requirements, you keep up with it. And you pay a fee of $17, I believe it was, to get the certificate saying that it is a way station. And so, along with all that, and along with everything that has gone through this project, I couldn't have done it without the help of the township. So I would like to say thank you to everybody for first approving it. Thank you to Jason Petty for getting the flowers and getting the leaf compost and helping me along the way through it. And thank you for any help that I've gotten along the way with it, and just along the way through my Eagle Scout journey. Also, I would like to talk about how far I am progressing wise with my Eagle Scout. So far, after this project, it's gotten me one step closer, and I'm now at the phase where I gotta send in my application to become an Eagle Scout. So I'm basically one step away from becoming an Eagle Scout.
Excellent.
Congratulations, that's great.
Thank you. Any questions?
I don't think I have any, but I kind of like Chief's name, Bechtel Garden. I like that.
What
Thank you
about
for that
Bechtold-
suggestion.
What about Bechtold Eagle Garden, perhaps? Incorporate the scout reference.
Hmm.
Any questions? Alex, thank you. Great
Thank
job.
you.
Great job. Next item on the agenda is public comments. Any out there, Jeff?
There are not any
Okay,
signed
thank
up.
you. Next item on the agenda is Sheriff Patrol report.
I don't have anything tonight unless there are any questions.
Questions? Okay, EMS and Fire. Chief?
I have no report other than a reminder of the Memorial Day Parade, and we'll be pickup at 9:30 at Bechtold.
9:30?
Is that good enough? I mean, it starts at 10, or you just want to go earlier?
Start at 9.
No, 10.
10, okay. All right, 9:30?
Chief,
Okay.
actually, I had a question about something someone asked me recently. The fire department used to give away magnets to senior citizens to put on their refrigerators on medication.
File life,
But, okay, do we
File
still have
that.
those?
Yes.
Are how would someone go about getting?
just stop in the firehouse.
Okay,
We have the vials and the magnets.
okay,
The vial has the paper inside that they fill out that has all their medical information.
okay, great, thanks.
We got plenty of them over there.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay, planning and zoning.
I do not have a report tonight, but I have 3 resolutions. The first resolution is a resolution initiating an amendment to the Sycamore Township zoning resolution. It's a text amendment clarifying that violations of the zoning resolution are misdemeanor offenses and may be enforced through criminal proceedings in addition to any other remedy provided by law. Kind of the nexus behind this is Hamilton County is blessed to have a housing court, and it's a tool that the zoning department could use to perhaps more efficiently adjudicate zoning cases. This text amendment would initiate the process. It would go back before the zoning commission and then come back before the trustees perhaps. At that time, we would also have a tandem resolution to amend the property maintenance code. That process is a little different, so the property maintenance code amendment wouldn't have to go before the zoning commission, but the zoning would. At that time, we would hear both. So this is, but for tonight, it's strictly for zoning.
Okay.
If there's any questions,
Well, you and I spoke earlier today about this. This is, of course, the start of a process.
That's
As we
right.
have public meetings, it comes back before us. We can approve starting the process, but we might have different thoughts later when it comes back to us. But I had a few suggestions as to some text amendments, and they're not in what's in front of us yet. Is that right?
they're not. I've not amended it
Okay.
based on our conversation.
Okay, should we present the resolution first and discuss that, or Larry, do you have a recommendation as to
You suggested that we amend the resolution?
what's going to come in front of us? Yes, just a couple of things. Let me go ahead and mention it, if you want to put up the draft one without presenting it, perhaps. One of them is a technical one on section 3, which is on the second page of it. It notes that within 5 days after certification by the zoning administrator to the zoning resolution, the commission may take an action. Timing-wise, I suggested maybe we should just say at the next meeting of the zoning commission after certification, to make sure we don't run into any sort of timing concern there. And then as to the attachment, which actually has the changes, you and I discussed a few edits to that. There was a grammar error we noted on the second page.
The right of entry.
Correct, yeah, in section D on that second page, first line of the second paragraph. Yeah, where it says
Possess.
possess, that should be possesses, but maybe has is simpler, we discussed.
Has.
So I would suggest that.
The next one was the mentioned was 24-4.1
C, right.
C.
Rather than referencing any person, firm, or corporation, which still leaves a few holes for unincorporated associations, for example, and things. we talked about changing that to, did you note down the exact wording I gave you, actually?
Any owner, occupant, person, or entity.
Okay, I thought that was a little broader and might capture anyone who might be in a space. So I would suggest we go with that, with what we're approving. And then in the next group there, 24-4-2, in the event rather than in case, and rather than any building, I think we said, what was it? Structure, building, or construct.
Or other construct.
Right, because that would then capture things such as fences in the front yard, or if somebody decided to build a patio or a pool or something crazy like that.
That's right.
And I think those were the edits I had suggested to you. I think it would be wise to incorporate that in this before we bump it up to the zoning commission to look at.
The only other one was after Board of Trustees and before the Hamilton County
thank you.
Prosecuting Attorney. You mentioned the adding the township law director or his or her designee.
Right, as someone who would be empowered to bring an action if needed. I think that would be wise to put in there too.
Yeah, I think under Robert's rules, the motion to amend takes precedence. So we should vote on that first, if you're making a motion to amend the resolution.
But he hasn't actually presented the resolution yet,
I know.
technically though, right? So, okay, well, but we should move to amend first.
I think you should move to amend,
Okay, then I move to amend in the manner just described.
okay?
Second.
Then you need to vote.
Discussion?
No discussion.
Mr. James?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
And so what I can do is, if it passes, I can amend it and then before the signing. So with that, the resolution that's on the table, a resolution initiating amendment to the Sycamore Township zoning resolution.
Motion to approve.
I have a question.
Okay, I'll second the motion. I think someone had a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do any of these changes change the time frame that a property zoning complaint is addressed in?
Ma'am, it's very hard to hear from you. If you can come up to the microphone, maybe give us your name and address for the record.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Mary Ann Lucas, 4087 Belfast,
Okay.
45236. I'm a little bit confused. The amendment change that you mentioned at the beginning, will that change the time frame, the time interval between when a complaint is made and when the resolution happens?
I could answer that. So the resolution is a resolution changing the code to perhaps allow criminal action. From a staff perspective, the goal is always to work with residents and, before we get to that point. So we would exhaust every effort to do that prior to referring it for a action before a court.
So where does declaring something a nuisance property fall in this time chain?
It would be a separate process.
I just don't want it to take any longer than it already does.
The idea
Like
is to make it
so and so
shorter.
many days to notify the owner has so and so many days to do something.
It didn't change any of those dates.
Okay,
The whole idea is to try to expedite the process because Hamilton County has a housing court, but they won't allow us to go to housing court unless we cite these as misdemeanors. So that's the basic change to the process.
okay.
So it should expedite the process rather than extending it.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Mr. Dieters.
Mr. James? Aye. Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
The resolution is passed. Next I have two resolutions related to property maintenance. The first is 8472 Wicklow Avenue. It's a type of violation, tall grass and weeds. The complaint was initiated by Sycamore Township, Mr. Clark. Date of the first inspection was April 24th of 2023. It's owner occupied. The last inspection was May 8th of 2023. The owner has been unresponsive to the letter related to photos. Just as you can see, tall grass. With that, resolution providing for and authorizing removal vegetation, garbage, refuse, and other debris, and declaring a nuisance for the property located at 8472 Wicklow Avenue, Sycamore Township, Hamilton County, Ohio, 45236.
I move we approve the resolution as presented.
Second. Any further discussion? Mr. Dieters.
Mr. James.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
The next case is 4020 Limerick Avenue. Again, type of violation, tall grass and weeds. Complaint was initiated by Sycamore Township. Date of complaint was April 24th of 23. It's unknown whether it's owner occupied or rental. Date of last inspection was May 8th, 2023. Unresponsive, the owner is. And as you can see, the grass, we'll skip forward. The grass in this case is much taller.
Really high, yeah.
So with that, a resolution providing for and authorizing removal of vegetation, garbage, refuse, and other debris, and declaring a nuisance for the property located at 4020 Limerick Avenue, Sycamore Township, Hamilton County, Ohio, 45236.
I move we approve the resolution as presented.
Second. Any further discussion? Mr. Dieters.
Mr. James.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
With that, that's all I have. I appreciate the opportunity to present.
Okay. Any questions? Roads Maintenance and Recreation Report.
The only thing I really have for recreation is I was going to talk about the pollinator event that Alex took part of. It was a nice, very nice event. They had a plant sale. It was a good turnout. Alex took part in that, helping that out. And also I went back and saw his garden, did a very nice job. And it was a nice turnout for a pollinator event. I think everybody was pleased with it. A lot of good, great comments.
Great.
So. And as far as roads, the other thing I have is the Montgomery Road Sidewalk Project, which is the SORTA grant project, is getting ready to start. You'll see those signs go up. They should be up this week, and notification will be going out to the property owners, and you'll see the street sawing probably start the end of next week.
Great. Anything else?
No, sir, that's all I
Any
have.
questions? Law Director report.
I have nothing to report.
I love that. Okay, next item on the agenda is Administrator report.
Really, all I have tonight is a couple purchase orders over $5,000. First one is 23-71-1, which is a blanket vendor in the amount of $12,000 for fire tuition, and that comes out of the Fire Department Fund. And 23-132, Bureau of Workers' Compensation in the amount of $5,051. This is a 2020-2021 group retro evaluation, and part of this comes out of roads, part out of fire, and part out of police. As you know, we pay Bureau of Workers' Comp every year. End of the year, we usually get money back. After they did an audit, they gave us too much money back. Now they want some back. So that's what this is. So they get $5,000 back of what they return to us.
Do you have a motion to approve?
I move we approve the purchase order list.
Second. Any further discussion? Mr. Dieters.
Mr. James.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
That's all I have, sir.
Okay. Fiscal Officer.
We had cash receipts of $1,088,596.93, disbursements of $520,842.48. A complete listing of the receipts and disbursements is available in the package.
I move we approve.
Second. Any further discussion? Mr. Dieters.
Mr. James.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye. Next item on the agenda is trustee comments.
Don't really have any, I suppose.
Okay.
Thank you.
I want to thank Jason Petty for his help with Alex's project. I know he did a lot of work on that, and we appreciate his effort, and certainly appreciate your great project as well, Alex. So I don't have anything else. We do have yoga in the park on Saturday, 9 a.m. at McDaniel. For all other scheduled meetings and events, you can see the calendar. If we have no further business, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.